Hello everyone, welcome to the Code Angle YouTube channel. My name is Deji and I'll be your content creator on this channel. For the most part of this year, I've been writing articles on a website called thecodeangle.com. The link is down in the description below. You can check it out on this website. I have covered technologies on HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React, Angular, mostly front-end technologies. But on this YouTube channel, I will not only be focusing on such technologies, but I'll also focus on back-end technologies too as time goes by. So the idea behind this channel is based on my limitations on the website course. There are some tutorials, some articles that I can't really write because they are kind of long, like 13 minutes to 20 minutes articles. I know a lot of people do not have um, a liking for reading very long blog posts. So I believe this YouTube channel should be able to fill in that gap for such people, so for such developers. So I hope I'll be able to create projects that would help a lot of people out there to learn more about programming, about web development, and make them better at whatever technologies they are interested in that I'm currently gonna be teaching. So for today, I would be teaching us how we can connect Netlify to an HTML form without creating any form of API with backend programming languages like Python, Java, Node, and the likes. It's gonna be strictly using Netlify as a service to send data to um, the dashboard on Netlify from the form. So let's get started. Yes. So this is netlify.com. In this platform, it we can host a lot of things here. We can do a lot of things here. It's a platform for hosting um websites at a much faster rate. You can ship your projects here. You can buy domain names. You can do a whole lot of things here. You can host your GitHub repository on this platform. I do that a lot for most of um, my personal projects. I host them on Netlify for free. So you are allowed to do that. It's a very fantastic platform. So you can check out the documentation and you see that it's actually very powerful and you can use it for a whole lot of things. So um, that's where we'll be hosting our project today. And another thing we'll be using it for is to push the data from our form into the dashboard on this platform. You see that towards the end of the video, but for now, I just wanted to know that this is what we'll be using, and we won't be writing any backend code. We won't be writing um, Node or Java or Python. We won't be creating any form of API. It will just take data from our form directly into the dashboard. So um, another thing you should know is to create the form, we'll be making use of a CSS framework, front end framework called Materialize. With Materialize, we are going to be able to create a form at a very fast pace because we already have ready-made templates on Materialize. So we're just going to copy one of the templates. So it's very easy to get started. Once you go to materializecss.com, the Materialize has a Z, not an S. So you should be aware of that. So once you go there, you would be taken to this landing page. So on this page, we can see the get started button. We can see the version on the left side bar. We can also see the various templates and various templates we can go to directly, but for our case we'll be using the forms, but we won't be doing that now. First, to get started, we'll be making use of a CDN. So let me click on the get started button. So that will take us to the page where we can get a CDN. So we'll be putting this CDN in our project in our index.html file. So let me create that. So I go to my computer and then I have a um, folder called YouTube. So let me open this in the terminal. To do that, I'm just gonna type in CMD on the bar above. So we are in the YouTube directory. Sorry. To open this in Visual Studio Code, I'll be using Visual Studio Code to um, create this project. It will be our um, default code editor anytime I'm going to be creating YouTube videos on this channel. It's a very fantastic code editor. So I press code space dot and enter and press to we have a welcome page on um, Visual Studio Code. So we will be making use of two files actually. Um, or before then, I would have to create another folder. Excuse me. Um, that would be a folder called that would be a folder in which we will name our project, and I'm gonna be naming it Netty because Netty form Netty form because we'll be hosting just a form on Netlify. So press enter. So in this folder, I'm gonna create two files. I'm gonna create an index.html file and okay, yeah, that's it for now. So let's generate a boiler HTML template. So I can do that by pressing shift and I and an exclamation mark. You see an Emmet abbreviation on the page. Actually, that's a VS Code plugin, a Visual Studio Code plugin. I don't know if you're aware of that, but I know a lot of people use that a lot in their projects. It makes things easier. So once I press enter, it generates a boilerplate template, HTML template. So over here we have to set up our form and then show it on the page. So I actually um, make use of a lot of plugins, and one of them is what we just saw, which is called Emmet. Um, these plugins kind of make our workflow very easy and fast. So as I continue, you will see me probably using more plugins. Maybe in my next video, I'm gonna cover all the plugins I use. So um, you guys can be on the same page with me when I create some projects. This is gonna make things better for us and faster for us. So let me change the title of this document to Netty Netty um, form, and then in the body to show if this to see if this is gonna show in the browser. Let me type h2 welcome welcome. I save. Let's take this welcome page away from the screen and let me right click and open this page with live server. Live server is also another plugin. It helps us to show um, our projects on the page. It helps us to show our projects on the page. So here is the welcome we typed on the page. So it's is now displayed. So let us grab this CDN. This will give us access to this front end framework called Materialize. So I'm gonna put this in the head and I'm gonna save. So with this, we'll have access to the styles in Materialize. Also, now let's go grab the form. So if I click on the form, we have different kind of forms in Materialize. Yes, we have one showing autocomplete, checkbox, chips, speakers, radio buttons, range, select, switches, text input. So I think I'm gonna go with text input here. So I click on text input, and then it takes us to a page where we see a predefined form. So I think this page has so many forms here, but I think I'll go with the first one. I'm gonna go with this one. So I expect the page to be like this when I copy it. So let's copy. the entire code, and Control C, go back here, and then let's remove this welcome page and welcome h2 header tag, and then let's paste that. So let me save, and then that should reflect on the browser. Yes, we're able to see this way because we already copied this CDN and pasted it in our Visual Studio Code editor. So it give us direct access to the CSS classes and then the IDs as relating to Materialize. So that's a good one. We've made a very good start. So I'm just gonna change some things in the form later on. So um um I think I don't like the way this form is, like, in terms of the settings. I think the margin is too up close together. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a style.css page to give this style.css file rather, to give this some margin. Style.css, enter. So for the body, I'm gonna give a margin of 40 px. Okay, we haven't linked our CSS. We haven't linked. Oh, I didn't create it inside the native form, so let me delete it. Sorry, guys. So in the native form, it has to be in the native form. So style.css makes things easier that way. So once again, body margin 40 px. I save. Then in the HTML, in the head section, I'm gonna link um, the CSS file. So link um, rel style sheet href CSS. What am I doing? Yeah, style.css. I save. So I go back to the page. Yes. So it has a nice margin now. The input fields are not touching the edges of the page anymore. So I think this is much more reasonable. So let me remove. I think I just need just name. I will need just first name, last name, password, and maybe the email. I'm gonna remove every other text. Let me just do that now. So first name, last name. I don't want this disabled, so I'm gonna remove it. Disabled. I don't want the passwords. We're not creating any authentication or authorization. I think I'm gonna leave the email, and then what else? There. Let's save and see how it is first. Okay, I'm gonna remove this helper text row. I save. Okay, perfect. I think one other thing we might need is a button. I mean, how are we going to submit the form if we don't if we don't have a button? So I go back to my browser, then once again we go to the templates, and let's see if we can get where we can input a button. um that will be in the components. So under the components, we have badges, buttons, breadcrumbs, cards, collections, and the like. So I'm gonna select buttons, and then it takes us to a button page. Very nice buttons. Yeah, I'm gonna go with a very simple submit button on this page. Yeah, this looks great. So I'm gonna copy this, and I'm gonna put it here. Let's save and see how it's gonna look like. Yes. Oh, fantastic. So we have a very nice button. Let me get rid of this icon. and save. So we have a submit button that would help us send data to the Netlify um, service. So we are done with the form. We got a very basic form here. Um, I think the next thing we need to do is find a way to set up the form to be Netlify ready. And to do that, we will need to go to Netlify documentation, and in the documentation there's that will be docs.netlify.com, and over there you will see the sidebar containing various setups. We have the homes, how to deploy site, monitor sites, domain names and HTTPS and like. But we'll be trying to set up our own form using this platform. So if you go through the documentation, you would understand what I mean. But let's just go through it briefly together. You can do that later, but for now, I'm just gonna go through it at a much faster pace. So for now, we just need to know that for Netlify to connect to this form, we need to set some attributes, and I think um, the most important, all the attributes are actually important, but this data dash Netlify equals to true actually what's it called? Actually tells Netlify to um, receive the data from the form once it's submitted. So I'm gonna copy this and I'm gonna put it in our form tag. It has to be in the form tag, and then the method has to be post. So I'm gonna grab these two method post and data Netlify equals true. Copy this, and then I'm gonna paste it. Yeah. So that is one. And another thing worthy of note is the name attributes. As you can see here, it says your form's name attribute determines what we call the form in the Netlify app interface. That is when your data gets submitted to the Netlify app. The name will determine what your form will be called. So you understand better once we are through with this. But for now, we are going to be calling this form contacts. Let's stick with this. So I'm going to copy this too. The other parts of the forms also are gonna have the attributes. So I paste this. I go back again. Then other parts of the form, we need to include the name attributes to give our form. Um, like for instance, this email, the name is called email because when we go to the back and when data is submitted, it will tally like the email will be in the email in the database. We like call it database in the back end service. So this is what we're gonna do to make this clearer. Let me just press down alt and then click on this part and press enter. Tab. Okay. um so let's add a name to this form. I don't need a placeholder. I'm gonna remove this doesn't really make it. I don't want any placeholders in the form, so I'm just gonna give this a name of first name equals to first underscore name. Which one is there? Last name. So we're gonna do the same thing for last name. I click on that, press down the alt key here and click on here, then I press enter. Tab. um just give a form. It makes it easier to get rid. So a name of last name, last name, last underscore name, and then the last one is gonna be the email. So like I did in the previous two, I'm gonna click on alt this, pressing down the alt key, so we select on multiple attributes. Press the enter tab. This makes our work faster. Press the enter key, and then I'm gonna call this email. Then we save. Yes, with this, it's gonna make Netlify understand the language of the form. That is going to know, okay, this part of the form is called last name, this part of this form is called first name, this part of the form is called email. So these three would be able to be sent to the back end. I think that's all we have to do actually. So the next thing we need to do is to host this form on a Git platform. um Netlify basically takes in three platform. I think GitHub, GitLab, and I can't remember the last one, but I mostly use GitHub. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna host it on this form on GitHub. To do that, we are going to initialize Git, but first I need to cd into the right repository, and that will be the netiform cd into netiform. Press enter. So I'm gonna do git init. This initializes a GitHub repository. Um, also, let me also before I run that in the command line, let me create the new Git repository. So we're gonna call this net netform netiform. I'm gonna make it a public repository. So I create this repository. So we have this bunch of commands. I hope a lot of you are familiar with Git. If you are not, I'm going to explain as brief as possible. The Git init makes means we are telling GitHub to connect to this project, like to understand that we are trying to connect to this project. So that kind of initializes, as the name implies, it initializes the GitHub in the project. Then we're not gonna be doing this. It's just a README file to explain what the project does. But then um, we need to add every aspect of the changes we've made. So because if I check git status, we've made a lot of changes in the index and the style files. So I'm going to add them git add. To add all of them, we're going to do git add dot. Okay, that is clear. um okay, git add dot. Also, moving ahead, we we need to commit our project. So let me just copy this git commit, Ctrl C, I paste it here. I'll click on this, copy that, paste that, press enter. Then we can push to the master branch. So git push origin master, because that's the default branch. So that has been pushed. So if I should refresh this page, yeah, we have our two files hosted on git. Before I forget, I don't know if my code editor is um visible enough, so I'm going to increase the font. Control plus. I guess I should have done this at the beginning of the video, but you're gonna excuse me for that. This is my first YouTube YouTube video, so I it's something I thought I should have done at the beginning, but it kind of skipped my mind. So well, good thing I'm remembering now. So I hope you guys can see every part of the code base. And yes, I think that's it. So our project is live on Git. So that means we can um host it on Netlify. So let's go to Netlify. Already, if you don't have a Netlify account, please go to netlify.com and create a new Netlify account. So once you create a Netlify account, you're gonna have a landing page like this. Um, so on this landing page, once you want to create a new project, just click on the Netlify um, icon on the top left, takes you to the landing page of your dashboard. So we click on new site from Git. So yes, these are the three um, Git providers Netlify supports. So we have GitHub, GitLab, and Bitbucket. I think I've used Bitbucket before. I haven't used GitLab before, so but I consistently use GitHub. That's my default Git provider. So I'm gonna click on GitHub. So it's gonna take us to how we can connect our GitHub project. So I'm going to search for Netty forms to make things faster. Netty form, enter. Still searching, 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 and found. Good one. So we, this is my name. You're gonna have your own name too when you create your own GitHub account. Did I say GitHub? Your Netlify account is on the master branch. We don't need to input any bit command or any publish directly. This works mostly with frameworks and libraries like React, Angular, and Vue. But this is just a basic HTML project. So I'm gonna click on deploy site. Um, okay, so the site is deploying. Sorry about the firecrackers going off in the background. Today is Christmas Day, so um, um, as expected, this kind of things happen. So let's click on this link, which will be generated anytime you host your um, project on Netlify. So when I click on this, it's going to take us to the project. And yeah, behold, we have a live URL. But I don't like the name of this. It's called Faventinosi96. I mean, who's going to remember that? So let's change the name. We can do that by going to the site settings and then click on change site name. So we're gonna call this netty dash form. I'm sure no one has used this name before. So once we save, yes, the name of our and I go back to site overview, the name of our app has been changed. So when I click on that, so our project is now called netty dash form dot netlify dot app. At least that's easier to remember. So with this, we can now test out to see if the data is sent to the backend. So I'm gonna type in first name. First name is gonna be called Deji. Okay. The labels are kind of covering the fields. Um, I'm sorry about that. I should have thought of that before. The last name is gonna call Leah Kim, and then the email is gonna be called the code angle at gmail.com. So once I click submit, it takes us to a landing page um that our form has been received. This is a default page created by Netlify. We can create our own, of course, because when you go to the documentation, I think there is a part where it talks about the submissions. Let me see, where you can change the UI using submissions. Um, I know it's okay. I think it's still gonna be under the setup part. I know it talks about the action. Let me see, Control F action. Yeah, for success messages. So this is what I'm talking about. So to get your own default success message, you're gonna set the form action to the page you want. For instance, could be forward slash pages slash success, and then it's gonna take us to that template. But we don't need to do that actually. So now to see if our form has been our data from our form has been sent to the backend, we can go back to our site first. So back at our site. So we can just click on forms on the dashboard. Takes us to a form page. Then we call the name of our form contacts. That's why we have contacts. Once I click on that, we can see when we click on Deji, that's my name. You can see that we sent him our first name as Deji. First name is the name on the form. Last name is the name on the form, which is Leah, and the email is thecodeangle.com. So basically, we have connected Netlify to this form, and the data on this form can be reflected on the now reflects on the dashboard, which is fantastic. Actually, you can use this on your projects, any projects you have, you can use it there. So and it's actually free. And let me go back. One more thing you should know is okay, one more thing you should know is on the site settings, when you go to forms, it can actually take in 100 submissions. So this is actually perfect for maybe your portfolio page and you have a contact form there and you want to receive data for that contact form. I think this is the perfect um, platform for you to connect your form to. It's free and it's very easy to implement, and It's very easy to deploy and you learn a lot of things here. So you can also probably add notifications, maybe receive email notification when you submit your form. All you have to do is just to add your email and you get notified. Name of our form is contacts, and if I save this and I send data in the form again to reflect in our email address, but I'm not gonna do that here. So I think that's it. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, please leave it in the comment section below. If there's anything I'm not doing well, please put it also in the comment section below, because I'm new to creating YouTube content, and I hope I would continue to do projects that would encourage you guys, that will make you guys better developers. My projects will be beginner based, at least for the time being. So I'm gonna create more projects like this, and I hope you guys are gonna enjoy it. So thank you very much for watching. Merry Christmas to you guys. Today's Christmas, yeah, where I am today's 25th. So you guys should enjoy this season.